Linda, could you please give us the invocation?
Psalms 91, verses 1 and 2 and 14. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Because He loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue Him. I will protect Him, for He acknowledges my name. Lord, I am in agreement with the words spoken by Moses, who is put in the position of leadership. Lord, we want to dwell in your shelter, which is safe and secure, and we want to rest quietly, protected under your shadow. Lord, you have our backs. You offer refuge in times of trouble. In a fortress that is indestructible, we can say that we trust you. You are the one in whom we have confidence in. We can rely on your character, your ability, your strength, and your truth. And this includes our future. We can place our hope and faith in you because we do love you and we proclaim it. We acknowledge your name. We recognize the undeniable truth of your existence. Only you could have created everything that was created out of nothing. And we realize that you love us. You have shouted out this calling love, and it is a promise to always be with us, and your love frees us from guilt and fear. Father, I ask that you bless every member of our city council. You have handpicked each one to be in this position of leadership. Guide and direct them, strengthen them as they move forward, as they live out their appointed tasks. Increase their knowledge, wisdom, and creative ideas. I pray for an increase of supporters and helpers that will gather around and behind each one. Thank you, Lord. And I ask in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Linda. So now we will officially call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Mayor Miller.
Here.
Alderpersons Borneman.
Here.
McClanathan.
Here.
Ross.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Busker.
Here.
Brashaw.
Aye.
Mysick.
Here.
And Berberay.
Here.
Thank you. Tonight, I am pleased to be able to welcome Cub Scouts Pack 11 from Freeport. They are here tonight with their leader, Joshua Ellers, and these young men and their pack leaders came earlier tonight to have a tour of City Hall, and so we would like to welcome them and thank them for their interest in city government. And I would like to invite you now to stand to be recognized. You can follow your leader up. One second, please. Okay, so if everyone else could please stand, they're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. Item number 1 is the approval of the agenda. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Brashaw, seconded by Alderman Busker. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Item number 2 is the approval of the minutes from the council meeting from October 7th, 2019. If you've had a chance to review that, is there a motion for approval?
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Parker, seconded by Alderman Busker. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. We have no public comments tonight, so we move on to item number 4, which is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is considered to be routine in nature and acted as one motion, unless there's a member of the council who would like to have something removed for further discussion.
Motion to approve. Second.
The consent agenda consists of to approve and place on file the building permits from September 2019, the fire department report from September 2019, the police department report from July and August 2019, the financial reports from the general fund, library, water, sanitary sewer, storm sewer funds for September 30th, 2019, Cash and investment reports for September 30th, 2019. Also is approved for the finance bills payable in the total of $1,220,751.61 and payroll pay period ending October 12th, 2019 in the total of $563,878.25. We have a motion on the floor made by Alderman Berberay, seconded by Alderman Misick. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Ross.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
Brashaw.
Aye.
Misick.
Aye.
Berberay.
Aye.
Borneman.
Aye.
And McClanathan.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. Item number 5 is the appointments. Madam Clerk, could you please read those?
Acceptance of an appointment of Michelle Richter to the Housing Authority effective October 31st until October 31st, 2024. Acceptance of an appointment of Mary Kaufman to the Library Board effective immediately until May 31st, 2021. Acceptance of an appointment of Mark Fashji to the Library Board effective immediately until May 21st, 2020.
Madam Mayor,
Alderman Brashaw.
on review of the information provided to us on these appointments and their high credentials, would it be okay to agree to pass them all as a whole,
If that's the council's pleasure.
Council?
I agree. That's fine.
I would like to make that motion to accept all appointments as stated.
Second it. You're right.
We have a motion made by Alderman Brashaw, seconded by Alderman Parker. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Ross.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
Brashaw.
Aye.
Misick.
Aye.
Berberay.
Aye.
Borneman.
Aye.
And McClanathan.
Aye.
The appointments are approved 8-0.
Thank you. Item number 6 is the presentation of the annual audit for the year ending April 30th, 2019, presented by Klein Hall CPA.
Your Honor, this is Andy Mace from Klein Hall who will be giving the presentation.
Welcome.
Good evening. So you have your bound audit reports for the year ended April 30, 2019. And I apologize for it being as late as it is. There's a new accounting standard that affected you for this fiscal period related to other post-employment benefits, which required an actuary's report on those numbers. And it took them quite a bit longer than we had expected to provide that report. So we wouldn't expect such delays moving forward. I apologize. I won't, this is a 180-page document. I don't want to go through it all, but I will touch on some highlights. On page 1 is our independent auditor's report. I always like to talk about that. Here we state that we conducted our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, as well as government auditing standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States due to the federal funding that the city receives. And that it is our opinion that these financial statements are presented fairly in conformity with generally accepted accounting principles. So that's a clean audit opinion, no modifications or qualifications. So that's a great thing. After that, then, is the management's discussion and analysis. And as the name implies, this is prepared by the management, by the administration, and this is a synopsis of the financial highlights that occurred in the city during the year. And that runs from pages 3 to about 12, 13. I won't go through the details of that. But if you didn't read any further, do read that, and that'll give you a very good understanding what occurred during the year. After that, then, are what we call the entity-wide statements. So this is at the full accrual basis of accounting. So even though your funds operate on the modified accrual, short-term measurement focus, these entity-wide statements include all of the long-term assets and liabilities, like your fixed assets and your long-term debt. I don't like to spend a lot of time there because you operate in the fund world. That's the way you budget. That's the way you operate. So I'll spend more time there. On page 18, then, is a snapshot of the financial position at April 30. And we classify your funds into your general fund and any other major funds if they meet certain monetary requirements or limits. And then all the non-major funds are shown together. So we don't have any other major funds besides the general fund. So that essentially shows your cash position and fund balances as of that date. The next page reconciles these modified accrual statements to the full accrual statement shown at the front of the report. Page 20 is the operating statement for the governmental funds, and this shows the results of operations for the year. You see that the general fund ended up with about a $1 million surplus, not counting transfers and other financing sources and that sort of thing, and ended the year just short of $9 million. The non-major funds had some surpluses, but you could see in the individual fund detail in the back why those occurred. Page 22 and 23 then are your enterprise funds, your proprietary funds, water, sewer, storm sewer, land closure, and health and environmental funds. The thing to note here is that the sewer department, if you look at that first column on page 23, the first line, it has no cash, and it hasn't had cash for a long time. If you look roughly halfway down the middle of the page, there's a $4 million due to other funds. So basically, the water fund is loaning the sewer fund to fund its operations, to fund its cash flow. A lot of cities and villages we work with combine the water and sewer fund into one fund. I understand that you're considering doing that maybe when you implement your new accounting system. Not a bad practice. I mean, you're commingling them now anyway for all practical purposes, so that would be fine. Page 24 then shows the operating results of those enterprise funds. And the sewer department did generate a little bit of a surplus, $200,000 before transfers in, but it's got a ways to go to get it cash positive again. Then there's a statement of cash flows for that, for those funds. And then on pages 27 and 28 are your fiduciary funds, primarily your two pension trust funds, police and firefighters' pensions. You see the makeup of the assets there. There's more detail in the footnotes of what those specific investments are comprised of, et cetera. Then we have the notes to the financial statements, and here we discuss the significant accounting policies and how the city operates and treats certain things. I'm kind of skipping ahead. On page 36 then begins a rather lengthy footnote on the cash and investment holdings of the city. The city does have a policy of requiring collateral on any bank deposits that are in excess of FDIC insurance limits, and we didn't see any problems there, so taking a very prudent approach there. There's a summary there. At the end of the year, you had $83 million. $58 million of that was in your fiduciary funds, primarily your pension funds. If you look at page 38, there are the makeup. There we see the makeup of the police and firefighters' pensions assets. $22 million in the police pension, $34 million in the firefighters' pension. Some fair market disclosures and other sorts of things there. After that, then I'm skipped ahead to page 44. We have a footnote that shows the makeup of receivables, so mainly other governmental units that owe you money for grants and taxes, et cetera. Page 45 and 6 shows the makeup and activity of the capital assets during the year. Page 47 is the summary of the city's long-term debt and its activity during the year. One thing to note there, if you look in the beginning balance column, the second number, IMRF, had a negative liability. So at the beginning of the year, your IMRF had a net pension assets. In other words, the assets were greater than the actuarial accrued liability. So you had an asset. Well, that flipped during the year, and I'll show you why here in a second, making it a net pension liability again, which they usually are. But that might have caused an uptick in your contribution rates. I'm not sure. Did you see an increase in contribution rates in 19?
Yeah, 2.2%.
Yeah. That's what's driving it right there. But this shows the makeup of all your liabilities. Something new there this year is the net other post-employment benefits liability of just short of $8 million. There's a new, that's the new accounting standard that went into effect this year. We used to call that, we had a different name for that in the prior year, and then this year they changed the way that those numbers were calculated. That resulted in about a $100,000 difference over the prior year, which is really rather small. It's a much smaller difference than what we typically see. These numbers can get large, and as I'll show you here in a minute, you're not funding that, so there's this potential liability out there. If a bunch of people start retiring, that could cost you more as you pay those benefits as you go. Then after that, we have lots of pages on the individual debt issues. Mostly they're installment notes and leases on vehicles and that sort of thing. But that goes through the next several pages. There's debt service to maturity schedules and all that as well. And then on page 60, we get into the pension fund reporting. And there's a lengthy footnote on IMRF. Page 64 begins the lengthy footnote on the police pension. Page 70 begins a similar note on the firefighter's pension and how all that's derived. I'm going to show you something else, though, in the other supplementary, required supplementary information. Then we get to the new footnote on the other post-employment benefits, and that explains exactly what those are, who's participating in it, what the assumptions are, that sort of thing. And then there's a note on interfund balances, which funds owe what funds how much, and interfund transfers, which funds transferred money to which funds. Last footnote is a note talking about the change in accounting principle for implementing this new standard. Okay, page 80. So why did IMRF change? If you look right in the middle of this page under the 2018 column on the net investment income line on page 80, you see a negative there. So what happened was there was a downtick in the stock market in December of 2018. That lowered the value of IMRF's portfolio of assets, which resulted in a net investment loss, essentially, for the year. You notice in the prior year, he had a $5 million net investment income. Market was good then. The market quickly rebounded, and similar schedules for your police and firefighters' pensions on the next pages don't show that. So because they're reporting on the fiscal year, the April 30, 2019 fiscal year, but the IMRF numbers are as of December 31st, 2018. But if you look at on page 81, the police pension had a net investment income, as it has almost all the years, and similarly, if you look at the same number on the firefighter's pension, it had positive net investment income as well. So the markets had rebounded by then. Okay. If we look to page 88, similar information for the newly reported other post-employment benefits. You'll see in the middle down that there are no planned fiduciary net position. You're paying as you go. So you're not funding this OPEB plan in any way. So that illustrates that there. So you paid $318,000 for benefit payments during the year. Okay, after that then is a lot of detail on the individual fund basis showing budget and actual, so you can see how you compare to budget, and the city, you know, you're real good about laying out your financial plan and sticking to it, and I think these statements illustrate that fact very well. You do have a lot of non-major funds on pages 102 to 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 other what we consider non-major governmental funds. Your TIFs, your library, motor fuel tax, that sort of thing, those are all accounted for on these pages. And then their results of operations are on pages 104 and 105. All right, I'm not going to go through the rest of these. We finished the report with detailed debt service schedules on all of the city's outstanding obligations, bonds, notes, leases, EPA loans, et cetera. All right, that was really it for the financial statements. Any questions on the financial statements?
Mayor.
Okay. We also...
Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Alderman McClanathan.
Thank you. Looking through it, and what you went over on the highlights, you know, not the only thing that I haven't. We obviously know the pension situation, and we've taken some steps to address that, which aren't reflected yet in this year. Will be reflected in next year, and the long-term debt obligations. The one thing, and I guess I might direct this to Director Bucus, is when we were talking about the post-employment benefits and payments, and you indicated a couple times we're kind of paying as we go on that. Is that, I know it's a kind of a new, it's showing up on here with the new standards, but how are other municipalities addressing that? Are they largely addressing it as a pay-as-you-go, or are there other mechanisms? And you're nodding your head yes.
Yeah, most of them are pay-as-you-go. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Anything else we need to be looking at this time?
No, not
Okay.
really.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. You know, the school districts have other post-employment benefit plan administered along with TRS, the Teachers Retirement System. And we implemented that last year for those, and the numbers are astronomical. We're just in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah. So anyway. Okay, that's it for the financials. You know, we also issue our what we call required communication letters, and there we're required to communicate to you if we had any significant difficulties during the audit or any differences of opinion or anything like that. And of course, there aren't any. You know, your administration does a great job. You know, Michelle does wonderful work with the books, and you know, you guys are really on top of it. We appreciate your all's work in helping the audit go smoothly. Unfortunately, she got sick right when we came out this year, so but we got through it. And then we have our management letter, and I mentioned the negative cash in the sewer fund, and the other item was, it was noted that your utility billing system and your general ledger aren't talking to each other very well, and it was especially evident in the area of these customer deposits. The administration believes that there's some customer deposits amounts on the books that were actually refunded years ago, and in system conversions, et cetera, it kind of got lost in the shuffle. So, we recommend, and of course you're already working on really digging into that and analyzing that and determining what potential liabilities you do have out there. And, seeing it, do we really have these customers? Do they really have money on deposit with us or not? So I know you're working on that, and I'm sure you'll resolve that soon. But that coincides too with, next year at some point you're going to have the new accounting software, and I understand that the utility billing system will be integrated with the general ledger system, so that'll make that so much better. So those are our only two comments. Otherwise, again, they do a great job. They really do. So that's it.
Well, thank you very much. Do you have questions, council?
Mayor.
Alderman McClenathan.
Thank you. Just one comment, and I'd like to reiterate what you said in regards to the administration and the, I think what's reflected in the lack of issues raised here. I know 4 years ago or so, we were in the double digits of things that were needing to be addressed and things of that nature, and then to come in with something like this where one, like you said, we already knew about the one, and two, they'd kind of discovered the other and we're resolving it. I think that speaks well of the administration. Thank you for your work
You're welcome.
with us, and thank you also to the administration for your work.
Anything else, council? Thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's a pleasure working with the city.
Thank you.
I guess the scouts didn't want to hear the audit.
So then, council, what I'll need from you, I will need an approval and a place on file of the audit management's letter.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Brashaw, seconded by Alderman Busker. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
I apologize, I wasn't ready for this. 2 seconds. Alderman Ross.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
Brashaw.
Aye.
Mysick.
Aye.
Berberay.
Aye.
Borneman.
Aye.
And McClanathan.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. Next is reports from department heads. Finance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next week, we have a Finance Committee meeting. We'll be talking about the general fund grants and TIF budgets. That's all
Thank
I
you.
have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you know, is there something that you would like to speak on behalf of community development? That would, I'm going to guess that Public Works wants to talk about that. No? I just saw how quickly you took that.
Not that I could think of off the top of my head, Your Honor.
All right, then we'll move on to Public Works.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have anything for Andrew. He didn't give me his notes. But for Public Works, we've got our bid opening on Wednesday for the ash tree removal. That'll take care of some more MFT money for us for the rest of the year. And then we begin leaf pickup. Guys are going at it pretty hard this week. We just want to remind everybody to please keep your piles clear of sticks, rocks, bricks, pumpkins, other landscape waste. It's just for leaves. That's what we're doing is leaf pickup. And also, please do not park on the piles. As I've been driving around, I've seen quite a few people parked on top of the piles, and not only is it unsafe, the fire department doesn't really want to respond to a car fire, but we also can't get them. So when the complaint comes in for the leaf pile not getting picked up, I can't help if you're parked on top of it. So please avoid parking on the piles.
Thank you. Fire.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This Thursday, myself and some department members will be attending the graduation for 2 of our Fire Academy candidates. They'll be graduating on this Thursday from the Illinois Fire Service Institute. And then last week we had 3 firefighter medics complete their tactical emergency medical services training, one step closer to working with the police department in their tactical program. And then also Chief Summers and I had the opportunity to, and Chief Townsend had the opportunity to go to Mercy Hospital's Tactical Training Center last Friday, observe the training center and the and the capacity they have to help us establish our active shooter system and protocols. So, great program. We're looking forward to working together on that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Police.
Thanks, Mayor. We, this Friday, closes the application process for the patrolman and police officer applications. So just encourage anybody who's interested in law enforcement, wants to make a difference, there's still time to apply and join our department.
Thank you. Water and sewer.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to go and make a mention over at the Hancock Treatment Plant, the solar farm. All the solar panels have been installed. The contractors is doing their job to go and wire them up. And the tree trimmer that's going to go and take the trees down to go and get maximum sunlight for these solar panels dropped off equipment over the weekend, and I imagine they're going to start tomorrow because today they got rained out. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. IT.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to draw everybody's attention. On the website, we have a leaf collection map. It's right there on the homepage or in the latest news or in the interactive section. And it's blue is it's already picked up and green means in the next few days. So you can view the map and plan accordingly. Want to add?
Yes, and I would also like everybody to know that these are estimated guesses. If the leaves get heavy, those shapes are going to get a lot smaller. Right now, there's not a ton of leaf piles out, so the shapes are very large. But as these piles start to mount up, those shapes will really begin to shrink down. And so don't expect the shape size right now of how much we're getting right now to continue for the rest of the leaf season.
Okay, thank you. And library, you get to sit at desk tonight.
Thanks for letting me join the table. And I just wanted to say thank you for the excellent appointments from Mayor Miller and also accepting that. So that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. And we will move on to Director Bucus, if you have something for manager's report.
Nothing under manager's report, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I just have two things to remind council of for this Saturday. If you have children or grandchildren, Bootyful Saturday starts at 10 o'clock at the Lindo, and then the trick-or-treating from the stores, roughly 11 o'clock till 1:30. And then also this Saturday, starting at 9 o'clock, is the electronic recycling event at Highland like it was before. So starts at 9, first 300 vehicles, $20 cash, gets you up to 7 recyclable whether it's TVs, monitors. You can go to the website to find out what those lists are, or you can call City Hall as well. And we still are in need of a few more volunteers, so if someone doesn't have something to do from 9 to noon, roughly, you are welcome to join us. That would be all for my report. So if Alderman Ross, if you had something?
No, nothing, Your Honor.
And Alderman Parker?
Just a quick question for Chief Summers. Are we getting a good interest in the applications, or a lot been taken out?
I don't have the exact number on that. I just know that I was told this morning that it closes on Friday, so I just want to make sure that I don't give you a false number that's out there.
No, approximate. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Busker?
Nothing this evening.
And Alderman Brashaw?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to remind the community that we have another wonderful downtown event this coming Thursday known as Chili Friday. There will be 10 businesses, I believe, having chili sampling downtown. If you pay $4 for a wristband, you can go to all 10. You will be full by the time you get through the route. I remember in the past, the firemen had their chili and it would just burn the roof of your mouth off. It was so spicy hot. Not all of them are that hot. Myself and my team will be cooking at 9 East, and I hope I see some of your faces down there, 11 to 1:30 this Thursday downtown, and the businesses will be marked. Thank you.
Just for clarification, it's on Thursday, but you're calling it Chili Friday?
Excuse me, it's on Friday. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification. No, we're cooking on Thursday. We're serving on Friday. Please forgive me.
Okay. Well, I just didn't want people showing up on the wrong day.
Chili Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Good catch, Mayor.
Alderman Misick.
So I wanted to echo the sentiments. Alderman McClanathan, the finance department's done an excellent job. It's great to see such a report, such a clean audit. I've seen audits in other businesses, and there always are suggestions for improvement. So this looks like a very short list, and we already are on track with some of those efforts. So well done. Also wanted to mention 7th Ward Neighborhood Watch is this coming Wednesday, October 23rd at 6:30 p.m. So I'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Burbray.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you, and Alderman Borneman.
I would also like to thank the Finance Department for their good work. It's refreshing to hear the compliments from the auditors on that. Other than that, nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman McClanathan.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. So that will leave us with public comments. Tommy.
Did you see this, Jody Mo?
I did. Congratulations, Tommy. You got an award for something.
For the Special Olympics part, they is doing bowling. From
For bowling?
Yeah,
What was your score?
170.
Wow. Awesome.
I could beat Matt some.
Sounds like a challenge there. Any other public comments? Madam Clerk.
This was a letter received from a constituent. This is our first neighborhood letter pertaining to a homeowner's dilemma, but when you publish this, we hope it will encourage others with similar situations to speak out and help work towards solutions. We live in an older, declining neighborhood in Freeport that has seen better days. I have lived in my neighborhood for 43 years, and it feels like an old dear friend. Our block is a mix of working people and some older retirees who try to maintain our homes and surroundings. Over the years, we've invested in property maintenance, roofing, painting, and landscaping. Our property values have declined greatly, but we still take pride in the place we call home and continue to invest in our property to maintain a respectable standard of living. Not all members of our neighborhood live by the same standards, and their lack of concern for the state of their property has a large impact on our entire block. In October, a neighbor boarded up his windows with plywood. We were told by the nuisance department that this is legal. This action will not only decrease the value of all homes in the neighborhood, but will create a distinct atmosphere of slum district. The property in question has been vacant for 23 years. The owner chooses to live elsewhere, chooses not to sell the property, and chooses not to maintain it. It has had little upkeep in 23 years. Our question is, how can it be legal for one person to neglect their property over the course of years until the lack of maintenance affects the property values and lowers the standard of living of an entire neighborhood? Are there no ordinances or recourse to protect the affected tax-paying property owners? It concerns us that this can occur in our city. This is personal as it affects all of us in this neighborhood, our property values, and our very dignity. Surely we have laws to prevent this from happening. If not, can laws be enacted? Perhaps there are others in this community with similar problems: neglected homes, neglected yards, accumulated debris, and trash. What can we do to stop this? We are seeking answers, support, and change to help preserve the value in our homes and our rights to live by respectable standards. We surely have rights too. Respectfully submitted, responsible homeowners in our neighborhood: Opal Odom, Christine Barkus, and Jane Sofalal.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any other public comment?
Mayor,
Alderman McClanathan.
I guess I'll just use public comment, just to inquire. I assume the administration is aware of the property in question here, or will be able to make the appropriate follow-ups based on the communication going forward.
Yes.
All right.
Anything else, Council? Seeing none, we have item number 13, which is a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Busker, seconded by Alderman McClanathan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Have a good evening.
Everyone wants to want to